Welcome to the MBU Football Coaches Show. My name is Guy Danhoff, and I'm here with Coach B. And Coach, this past weekend, let's just say, obviously, it was homecoming, great crowd, great pageantry. It was a lot of fun, actually, because the Spartans were definitely in the game the entire way, all the way through. Your team played very hard, just fell a little short, 43-32 against Peru State College. And I was wanting to get your reflection on this past Saturday.
Well, it was a lot of fun. You know, homecoming week is always fun, especially around here. Everyone on campus does such a great job leading up to the game, and then all the events that take place. It's a lot of fun. Like as you mentioned, the crowd and just everything that goes into a homecoming game. Obviously, we're not able to enjoy it as much as we want. When it doesn't come out the way we want. But the thing that you hit on is we were in the game right up until the end.
Yep.
It was our team played hard. Our guys fought their butts off on that one, and really did everything that we asked them to do. I thought their energy was high. I thought our execution was pretty high on the most part. Just a few little things here and there, but like I told them, it wasn't a lack of effort. It wasn't a lack of want to. They were dialed in. They did everything we asked them to do. It just didn't turn out our way, and we just got to come back to the drawing board. But I was really proud of how they played.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let's get in some real high points to start with. I mean, the Spartans had over 400 yards of total offense. You had the most points you've had all year at 32. And you also, let's be honest, I thought your quarterback play with Jordan Simpson, I mean, he put some balls right on a dime, especially pass plays that went to Cameron Sloan for around 58 yards, another one over 50 that went to Gavin Claude. You know, again, just beautifully thrown balls and, again, taking it to the house. So I know you started the first quarter, you were losing 14-0, and they kind of was really controlling the clock a lot at that point. I mean, the time of possession was extremely lopsided. But then you had that great run where you had those two long touchdown passes. Walk us through kind of what you said to the team as you began the second quarter, because, again, you're looking at this deficit, and now you're starting the second quarter.
Well, it was really just trying to calm them down. You know,
Yeah.
I think we came out a little bit tight offensively. We weren't clicking quite yet. Obviously, I thought they did a really good job of just getting things going and getting some success plays. You know, we got a big spark by the safety.
Yep.
After a third down, I think, where Jordan scrambled, kept his eyes downfield, and found Cam. Cam made a nice move and got himself in the end zone. Gavin did a great job blocking downfield for him to free that up. And then we came back with the safety and hit Gavin on a big play. So, you know, I think it's one of those things that we just said, you know, everybody got to take a deep breath, you know, get back to who we are, you know, not freak out or anything, because there was a lot of time left to play. Obviously, defensively, there were some little things that we had to get cleaned up. They had scored on an easy walk-in touchdown, and that was an easy adjustment that we had. We had actually missed a call off of the motion and didn't play that right, which led to that touchdown. You know, what I love about having our defensive guys and you know, having some guys that with some experience is I come over, I say, hey, you know, did we make this call? Did we not make the call? Yeah, coach, it was my fault. I didn't take the call off. I didn't make the call, whatever it is. They're over there. They're taking accountability, and that helps us because we can say, okay, sounds good. You know, it's not anything that from a schematic standpoint we really have to massively adjust. It's just more, all right, well, from now on, let's remember that that's what we got to do. And we went out and played pretty well for the rest of the second half. You know, I think offensively they just made some big plays, and before you knew it, you know, the pendulum had swung and we were ahead 15-14.
Well, you were, and then, of course, they scored right before the end of half, which is always something that you talk about all the time. And then, of course, you know, you're trailing 22-15 at half. What did you say to your team at the half?
Same thing. Like, this was not anything to freak out about. We're right there. If it's if we want to go out and win, it's up to us. Just stay positive. You know, we got the ball coming out of the halftime. So offense, hey, just keep it rolling. Let's put a drive together. Everybody just stay positive, stay confident in that this is their day. You know, we talked about Proverbs 23:7 a lot before the game about as a man thinketh, so he is. And so it was something that we were just kind of reiterating as guys, you know, how would you think, you know, the positive self-talk that you have, both to yourself, to your teammates, is going to make a lot of difference here in the second half. And, I thought offensively they did a phenomenal job. We got backed up because of a penalty on the kickoff and put together a 90-yard drive to tie it up. And, that right there is a big-time drive that the offense made. And unfortunately, one of the things that we just continue to talk about is those turnovers off of special teams, and something that we've got to make sure we're taking care of. And it was a situation, we had a new guy back there. He's done a great job at it, but lost the ball in the sun at the last minute, and that's what it is. But defensively, we've got to be better in those situations. In those sudden change situations, we've got to go out and get stops, hold them to field goals. And something we talk a lot about, and it's not just us. I think a lot of coaches believe that games are won and lost in the last 4 minutes of each half, and that one right there hurt us.
Well, it kind of did. It was really interesting because, Kevin and I were doing the broadcast, and when the punt happened, we're like, okay, we're going to get really, really good field position, and this is a great place to be. And then the next thing you know, the fumble happens, and then they get the ball and they score, obviously to kind of take that momentum out as you go into halftime. But to your point, the Spartans made great adjustments for that third quarter. You drove a long way, to obviously tie the game. And then the other thing that happened is their defensive player of the year gets hurt early in the second half, and he also happened to be their punter. So it's not every day that a defensive lineman's also their punter, and he's pretty decent. But when he was out, I thought the Spartans had a few more opportunities to take advantage of some bad punts.
Yeah, we did, and I think we knew they didn't really have a great kicking situation. So, in some ways you think, okay, that's good, but in other ways, it does put more pressure on you because you have to make 4-down stops. And, you have to really transition your mindset. That was something we talked to the defense about early on. It definitely helped that he went out hurt, but I thought that our offensive line was doing a really good job on him in the first half. There was a play early, I think, in the first drive where he snuck through there, made a big play, dropped for a loss. But for the rest of the half, we did a really nice job on him. And, he's a really good player, so anytime you lose that, it's going to have an effect, just as we well know. Losing Jeremiah and Gio on the defensive line, it has an effect. And, that might have opened a few things up in the run game. But, offensively, they did a great job keeping us in the game. And the tough thing is you look at 3 of the 4 games that we've been right there in, and really you look at the stat sheet. One of the reasons I always tell you that I don't like stats, because we have dominated the stat sheet in those 3 games, except for the one thing that matters most, which is the win-loss column. Right.
Well, the final score, of course. Yeah, exactly. Talk to us a little bit about their number one, their wide receiver. He came into the game after 4 games, has returned 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. He almost pulled one off on us, and I got to tell you, might have been the tackle of the year on special teams with Odie, your kicker. He is literally the last man standing between him and the goal line. And Odie just, I don't know, he just puts his head down, makes the tackle, a helmet comes flying off like a linebacker, And I know everyone's, it was a kind of a cool moment. But speak a little bit about him, because just his presence on the field, again, he's a Division I transfer, but you could really see why he was in Division I, at least for a period of time, because his speed was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I'm not going to go crazy on it. We've played faster guys this year, and we'll play faster guys. I think what makes him good is he's a good route runner.
Yeah.
He made a tremendous one-handed catch against Rondale down the sideline. He's
with great coverage.
Yeah, Rondale had
with great coverage.
Rondale had good coverage.
Yeah.
One of the things that we just talked a lot about is we've got to do a better job playing the hands. We talk about that, as I'm working with the corners, is we've got to be more violent playing the hands, and that was something that we just didn't do. And we have just a lot of guys that are still getting their feet wet. Rondale being a transfer, this is his second game within I want to say like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Because of different situations. But so he's getting his feet wet, doing a nice job. We got some young guys up on the defensive line. Brady Davis that is getting a lot of time. I thought he made tremendous strides from the Culver game to this week. We had to move some guys that were offensive linemen and tight ends to the defensive line. They played there in high school, but we had to move them. And so, we've got some new guys there defensively. We've got to make more plays. That's just the bottom line. Defensively, when we had chances, we really proved that we could stop them.
Yeah.
I mean, Fromm's a good player, but I also am just realistic with our guys, and nothing against anybody that we play, but I mean, there's also a reason why they've dropped down to
Right.
play at this level for one way reason or another. And so that when I look at that, we're all in the same boat. We all put the pants on the same way. We all go out and play the same game. So just go out and do our job. And I thought overall we did a pretty good job on it.
Oh, you did, which opened up for a few other role players who had bigger games, and we talked about that on the post-game show. All right, so let's kind of wrap up this game. Let's take it to the most exciting part of the game, certainly for the fans here. You have 5 minutes left to go in the game. You're trailing 4, and you have the ball on their 22-yard line first, and you're on the 22. So walk us kind of through, those 4 plays, which obviously you did not score.
Yeah.
Which then that was kind of the ball game, but. I just know that was an interesting sequence, but you had the field position and just, again, couldn't deliver on any one of those, downs.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, again, one of those things you go back and you reevaluate and you start looking at, okay, what can we do? What do we need to do different? And,
right.
I think some of it goes offensively. Us coaches always looking at what can we do better, but we always tell the guys the same the same thing is when the lights come on and it's the most important part of the game, we need guys that are going to be like, coach, give me the ball.
Right. Right.
Or if it's 4th down and 1, a defensive player, like, run it at me. You
right.
know? And we had our opportunities. We had a 4th down and 5. Jordan extended the play. Cam did a nice job of getting open, and they just couldn't connect on it. And
right.
Those are those things that honestly, it's one of those where if you're going to be a championship team, you have to make plays when it's most important.
Right.
Now, that doesn't just go offensively. That goes across the board. When the end of the half, when we get the stop, we're going to have great field position. We've got to make sure we secure the ball. When defensively, you talk about that drop. Well, shoot, there was still about 4 minutes or 3 minutes to go, and we had 3 timeouts.
Right.
And we give up a long touchdown run.
Right.
So, there's stuff that we can correct on all sides, but at the end of the day, we just keep encouraging our guys to trust it. Know that they're talented, but when it's really on the line, know that you're able to do it and go out and make the play.
Absolutely. So the Spartans now are 0-4 to start the season, and now you're headed to Clarke University, who is 1-4. The game time is this Saturday at 1 o'clock. And when you look at the Clarke film, what do you see, and where do you see maybe where the Spartan has some advantages?
Well, I think they are very similar to us in a way. I think you look at the last 3 weeks, going back to Culver, last week with Peru,
right.
and now Clarke. That they lost a game 27-24 last week. They had a big lead, let Mid-America come back. They won a game the week before 27-24, and then
right.
they had a couple games that got away from them a little bit, but one of them was to Benedictine, who's one of the better teams in our league anyway. So they're a lot like us. They've got some good players. I think they've got some wide receivers that are good. Their quarterback is a very accurate guy, and he's probably more mobile than what we've seen lately. But I think one of the things that I see is they don't probably have the talent that Peru does, and they're probably not
right.
quite as good on the offensive line as what Culver was.
Right.
But in some of those other areas, it's going to be a hard-fought game, and they've got guys who will go out and make plays and keep you guessing on defense. So they do a lot of different stuff on defense, and they want to run the ball, but they've got some wide receivers that can go make plays. So we've got to just put everything together, and that's
right.
the thing that we just are really talking about is have confidence. The season's far from over. One of the things I shared with the team on Monday is back in 2021, we started the season 3-0, finished the season 4-7. When we got into league, we won 1 game. So I said, right now, would you trade an 0-4 start to finish 6-4?
Right.
And,
right.
obviously we all would. So there's a lot left to go, a lot left to play for. We're almost to the halfway mark, but we just got to keep doing our job. We realize that in most of these games, we're literally right on the verge of being 3-1, and most of those things we've controlled.
Right, and from what I understand from looking at your schedule, you really have not played a conference game yet. You've played like if you're in the North, they're in the South.
Correct.
But that doesn't affect your conference rank.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, so as far as that goes, I mean, as far as your team goes, you're 0-0 at this point.
Right. In true conference play, we're 0-0.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
The way the Heart of America works is, right now we're playing all the North teams.
Right.
The only one that we don't play this year is Graceland.
Okay.
But we're playing all teams from the North. Clarke would be the last one, and then we move into our South divisional play after
Right.
the bye week. So yeah, and that's exactly right. That's something we've really talked to the guys about. But also at the same token, just like controlling what we can control, continuing to get better every week. Which
Yeah.
last week, both offensively and defensively, we had fewer missed assignments. It just comes down to making those little plays.
Right. Well, and that's a good thing because I'll just say this. I had a chance to talk to several of your coaches, on game day, before, obviously in the pregame. But it was really cool, some of the things they shared that you all were working on all week, and there was evidence of it throughout the game. I just thought it was just great how much time of just, like you said, we got to know our assignments. Even with Odie, talking to his coach about sometimes, hey, we're just going to kick out of bounds, we're going to angle, or we're going to make sure that we get that ball skied up so we got the coverage. It was just really interesting, though, just to really see those things that we talked about, the past few weeks that the Spartans have really cleaned up. And the one thing I think that all of us love that we're here live is just the grit and the grind of the Spartans. Again, it was so exciting when you had the ball with 5 minutes left, thinking, "Wow, you could do it." I mean, you could take the lead and most likely have a 3-point lead, going in with very little time left in the game. So obviously, it didn't work out that way. But to your point, the Spartans were, again, as we like to say in the biz, right in the mix.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest frustrating and heartbreaking thing for us as a staff and for me as the head coach is just how much I know those guys wanted that game, how much they put into, not just the game day, but like the week of practice. We had a great week of practice. We were dialed in throughout. Even Friday, we came out a little bit less than what we had been. And so I actually sent him off the field and said, you take it back in the locker room, come back out with a renewed mind, and we started over. And when they came out, they were laser focused, and that carried right into Saturday. So that's what's really disheartening. But what I tell them all the time is that the work you put in only gives you an opportunity. We still have to make plays. We still have to do some of those little things. We were much better than what we have been throughout the course of the season. But, defensively, we can't give up 40-some points. And, offensively, they just got to keep doing their job. And we were honestly a few plays here and there away from scoring 40 points ourselves.
Absolutely. That was something that obviously we talked to you about in the post-game show with Kevin. So, all right, Spartan fans, you want to dial it in this Saturday at 1 o'clock as the team travels to Clarke University for, again, a big clash here in the Heart of America as the North plays the South. And then after that, it's going to get fun because you'll be in actual conference play.
That's right.
All right, just keep it right here on the Spartan Digital Network. For Coach B, I'm Guy Danhoff. We want to thank you for watching it all right here on the Spartan Digital Network.